Okay, it's time for Fowler's Facts. We bring on our statistical mastermind, Clinton Fowler, to give us some of the numbers behind the theories that we already have. And I know what you've been brewing in your lab, some comparisons between 450 riders, and it really shows how unpredictable a season can be. We might think something now. It doesn't mean it's always going to go that way.
Isn't that the case? You got Cooper Webb and Jason Anderson this week that I'm comparing. And if you look at the two incredibly different seasons in 2022, especially when you compare them to 2021, Cooper Webb, on the one hand, really had probably his worst season since joining KTM in 2019. On the other hand, Anderson joins Factory Kawasaki, and he has a career year, or darn close to a career year. So Cooper Webb, 0 wins, 4 podiums. The least, right? He had 4 in his least the previous and 8 podiums. Whereas Anderson, 150 led laps, 7 wins, both even more than the championship season he had in 2018. So really different seasons between the two of them. Really want to underscore it. Just look at the wins columns. 0 for Webb, 7 for Anderson.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting, because going into last year, Webb gets second at the opening, or think he's off to the races, and ended up being a bad season. And it's funny, Webb 7th in points last year, Anderson tied for 7th in points the year before that. So Daniel, it just shows, man, you don't know until you go racing how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, if you're trying to figure out who's hot and who's not in this sport, just wait a week and it can switch. And that's the beauty of Supercross. And I can see Cooper Webb definitely bouncing back. And Anderson, I think he's going to be on fire. I'll go on record right now. He's actually my pick to win the title. But if things did fall apart, don't be surprised, because that's Supercross. And while we're on the hot or not topic, Clinton, riders come into a season feeling a certain way, but statistically, there are some riders coming in hot, and there are some that are coming in off of a really bad season. That's just the facts.
Yeah, it absolutely is the case. Take a look at Marvin Musquin versus Dylan Ferrandis, right? 2 French riders, incredibly talented, definitely coming in off of very different 2021 seasons. Marvin Musquin finished the 2022 season with 4 podiums. He's one of 5 riders with a win last year. Think about that, one of 5 riders with a win last year. On the other hand, you got Dylan Ferrandis. Ferrandis only made 12 of 29 events last year. Had injuries in both Supercross and in Motocross. He did have a podium in San Diego, which is pretty good. You can't knock a podium. But the reality is only 12 of 29 races. That's a pretty difficult season. He's going to be coming in wanting to make a statement early.
Well, all these riders will come in feeling like it's a complete reset. That's just the way they feel. Again, statistically, that's not the case. How about in the 250 class, comparing an Austin Forkner and an R.J. Hampshire, who are also coming in with completely different numbers into the 23 season?
Yeah, very similar scenario with Hampshire and Forkner. Both of those guys are veterans of the 250 class. Going to be really interesting to see how they fare. You've got R.J. Hampshire. He won his first Supercross main event in St. Louis last year. He also added a 4th pro motocross win. He had 5 top 5 finishes in pro motocross, had a great season all around. On the other hand, you got Austin Forkner, a similar scenario to Dylan Ferrandis, who he only had 6 of 21 races last year. He missed 15 races. He just wasn't there. He had the injuries. You got to give him props for the fact that he had a win in Foxborough. There's nothing, that's a great outcome for him. But the reality is that's really the only shining light of his 2022 season. So it'll be interesting to see as we enter the season, how does Hampshire fare versus how does Forkner fare on that West Coast going straight up against Jet Lawrence?
Jason, the beauty in all this is as a racer, if you're coming in hot, statistically backed by Clinton, you feel it. But the riders that are not coming in hot, they still feel okay. They're the ones that get to press the reset button. And that's why every year at the round 1 of the championship is so wild, because in their minds, everybody's starting from scratch, even if the numbers don't match.
Well, yeah, you're right, Daniel. I'm going to drill a little deeper beyond just the numbers. Think of the personalities involved. Cooper Webb, Dylan Ferrandis, Austin Forkner. Those are the 3 riders that are in a down phase right now. Those 3 don't lack for confidence. No. They know they can beat anyone on the racetrack any day they line up. So hopefully that ratchets those guys back up to the front of the field. And even better news, next week, Clinton, we won't be talking about old data. We will have new stats, because we're going to have a race under our belt for next week's show.
Yep. Can't wait till this Saturday. It'll be really interesting to see if Ken Roxon can add that 5th win at Anaheim 1, and or does one of these guys that's had a bit of a cold season last year step up?
It doesn't really matter. It's round one. No matter what happens, it's news, and we'll be here to talk about it. We'll see you next week, Clinton.
Thanks, Jason.